I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. Yeah, I'm a cosplayer. You know what I mean. And I do my little turn on the con floor. Yeah, on the con floor. Oh, on the con floor. Yeah, I do my little turn on the con floor. And I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. And I'm too sexy for this song. Happy Friday. Tonight, we've got very special guests, and we are not only serving up a piping hot cup of cosplay, we are spilling all the tea. We're going to get into it on toxic conventions, toxic convention organizers. We're taking you behind the velvet rope, and we're just going to give you that tea. But before then, enjoy this video from our sponsor.
Pokeballs by Crayley is your one-stop shop for handmade magical creations that celebrate all the Pokemon universe has to offer. Available on CrayleeVanest.com, that's CrayleVanest.com, and possibly coming to a con near you.
All right, so I have my co-host Andrea Starnes, the woman, the legend, the goddess. She is riding shotgun with me tonight. Welcome, Andrea.
I don't know if I live up to all of those, but I'll try.
Yeah, you do. Take the compliment.
We're all really bad at it, but I'll try.
Yes, you will. And tonight we have very special guests who we absolutely adore. They are on a sister show on our network, the Ice Cream Queens. These women are absolute queens. We just cannot say enough good things about them. First of all, we have DL Memphis, who we have both fangirled over since before she joined our network. Welcome, DL.
DL's.
I love you.
I tell DL she's both my girl crush and I want to be her when I grow up.
Oh, and honestly, I feel the same thing about you guys. I have been fangirling over, and honestly, a bit intimidated to approach you guys initially because I'm just like, oh my god, they're just in a totally different league than I am. I know.
Lies.
How did it happen? Well, I'm gonna have to lose the feathers. They're getting on my nerves already. Like I just put them on. I know, put them on, take them off.
We'll see how long my cape lasts.
Yeah, we'll see how long the horns last. Let's get real.
We'll all make it. We'll make it.
And we also have one of your co-queens, Lauren Knight, who is amazing. If you all are not following her on TikTok, you're missing out. Lauren's makeup looks are incredible. She's so funny and so talented, and we just adore her. Welcome, Lauren.
Hello. Y'all are over here talking about horns and capes, and I'm over here like corset. Y'all see how long that corset lasts? I'll be sitting up here in a dang bra.
Absolutely.
You know what? Our audience will not complain, okay?
No, they never do. Never, ever.
We already have a.
I just want to say, Lauren and I are.
We're wearing matchings.
Cool gamers.
We're corset twins tonight.
Yeah, we're corset
Titties.
twins.
Sorry, what?
There's. We're gonna get the bots.
Are we gonna get in trouble? Oh my gosh!
No.
I'm sorry.
No, every time we are on a show and we start talking too explicitly, and whenever it goes on to Spotify, we get the little E icon, and then Spotify gets mad at us.
They always do. Spotify is always mad at us.
They're constantly deleting us.
Yeah, I saw you talking about them like just taking down some of your random shows. Just
the entire podcast.
Oh yeah,
not just random shows. Our podcast just disappears. The entire thing.
Channel.
Yeah, the entire channel.
And Spotify, get it together.
Right? It's happened about 4 times now, and the only thing they can give us is there was suspicious activity, and I'm like,
nobody's trying to hack us. That's not suspicious. I'm serious. Who is trying to hack us?
No, really. They can't handle how amazing you are.
Wow. Thank you.
Y'all know, okay, y'all are the con fam, so we're just gonna, constantly boost your egos and we make each other completely intolerable to everyone else because the inflated egos are massive.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
we're the con family to the point to when we all get together, we're all like, let's just go hang out and have like coffee, but not coffee. We'll drink alcohol out of mugs and do photo shoots.
See, when Kelly said we spill the tea, we are not kidding. We get together and spill a whole lot of tea. We call them at cons our petty tea parties.
Oh, yeah, that sums us up.
Yeah, because we try to be all welcoming and everything, but some people bring out that petty nature.
Sometimes you just gotta vent, okay?
Yeah, no. When you're having to deal with people in mass, you absolutely it's the same thing in working in customer service. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. And then you get that one person that you just want to like throw the stapler at. Sometimes even through the phone.
Oh no, absolutely.
Because, stop, please. It's just so yeah. When you're dealing with people in a big giant mass like that, like 99.9% of the time, it's gonna be fine. Great. But there's going to be those instances where like it's not.
I love the ones that like to stop and give unsolicited criticism about your cosplay, and they have never put on a costume in their lives.
Ooh, what are your favorite ones you've ever gotten? Because my absolute favorite is they don't show that much cleavage. You have too much boobs for that character.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
I've been
experience. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Tell your experience. Spill the tea.
I had an experience with a vendor. This was not directed at me exactly, but this vendor was running her mouth, and I'm like, okay. I was walking around. I was paid to be a character, and I was visiting all the vendors. And granted, they were kind of down in the dumps because the con did not get great experience because of Pride going on that weekend. And this was the first year the con was in that area, and they realized, and the con organizers are very, very pro Pride, so the con organizer is not the problem, but the vendor right away opens her mouth, and like I was just commiserating with the vendors, and most of them were like, yeah, I'm really glad Pride is doing so well, but this vendor was like, I don't agree with Pride. She's like, don't get me. Right away I'm like, this is not a person that I'm gonna spend my money with. But then then I made a joke about how hot I was, like physically hot.
Yeah, you're hot too.
We think you're hot.
Both, but yes, you're
like I was overthinking.
Both is very applicable at cons.
Yes. And because it was an outdoor con, and it was June, and it was like 90 degrees, and I was like, next year, y'all, I'm gonna be slave Leia, and nobody wants to see that. I'm just being self-deprecating. And she's like, well, this weekend I've seen a lot of people wearing too little clothing that I really didn't want to see. I'm like, ugh. And then she's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything to those people. I'm like, but you're saying something to me.
Yeah. How do you know I'm not one of those people?
Yeah,
I usually am one of those people.
Right?
Goes on a whole rant about how, well, I'm not saying anything and they can do what they want, but it's just not attractive to me. And I said to her, I was like, they do not have to be attractive to her.
Yeah.
They do not have to be attractive to you. No cosplayer owes being sexy to you. Like,
ever.
It doesn't have to be.
No.
They're having fun. Yeah. Mind your business. Keep your mouth shut.
Yes.
Absolutely. Also, if you're having those thoughts, you're still being negative. Even if you're not telling them face to face, you're still having those negative thoughts.
Exactly.
And it's going to eventually get out to someone that somebody said something like that. It's just, I grew up on Bambi when Thumper said, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all.
Oh, and I grew up on Still Magnolias. If you can't say something nice, come sit by me.
Yeah, that too.
And
that's again why we're all friends.
We get conventions down here to where they don't even have to like say it to anyone. We have conventions where vendors will have specific political parties that are very well known to be anti-LGBTQIA, anti all of that, and they're they're selling merch they've got big old hats and big old this and that. And I'm just like, why are you selling that at a convention?
Well,
and this is not that kind of convention.
Okay, my friend Kay, the artist that does a lot of cons with me, they said the Venn diagram of the queer community and the nerd community is practically a circle.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
They're right, because most of the nerds are queer and most of the queers are nerds.
Well, and here's the thing. If you're going into an environment, whether you are vending, you are cosplaying, and our rule of thumb on our show is that we don't discuss politics. We don't discuss current events because, first of all, we are entertainment. And quite honestly, we understand that if you start bringing in political views, religious views, you're going to automatically start alienating half of your audience. And the same thing with cons. And anybody who comes in and starts being extreme in their views, to me, don't understand the con community.
Yeah, fair. No, that's absolutely. And when I say we don't cover politics, we do in a sense cover some of that. We have had specific shows about religion, and we talk about different religions in horror and how they're portrayed.
Absolutely.
So we talk about it, but it's not just this religion. We talk about all of them, unless we're like singularing and doing a devoted episode to exorcism or something. And
you're kind of looking at it from a pop culture point of view instead of this is my soapbox that I am up on.
Exactly.
Listen to a megaphone on the street corner.
Yeah, it's how it's portrayed in media, and we're discussing that. We're not sitting there saying it's wrong, it's right. Sometimes we may throw an opinion out there because, well, we're us, but
we're opinionated.
We're opinionated. But we very much try to cover all sides of things and not lean one way or another. My only issue is when one side of something tells other people they don't deserve to exist anymore. That's where I draw my line.
Absolutely.
Same. Absolutely. So I'm going to throw up a couple of comments real quick. We had Mark Desjardins. Bonjour from Fort Wayne. Sorry I'm late to the party. Slow playing Magic players. Have fun. And
Magic the Gathering, nice.
Yes.
What kind of deck were you playing? Sorry.
Our usual.
What kind of deck are you playing?
Derek Spicer, our lovely, constantly supporting us guy. Howdy, y'all. Can't stay. Hope thy conversation is great.
It will be. You should stay.
No, no pressure. Nope.
No pressure.
Come join us later online. We'll be online.
No
later.
pressure, but
no pressure,
but stay.
You got 4 women surrounding you going, no pressure, but.
No pressure, but yeah. So it's interesting because you were commenting earlier also that you have occasionally gotten comments and you've occasionally gotten people approach you. And I know that we've all kind of been in that realm where people are not always friendly when it comes to the cosplays that you select. What I have found more so than the in-person con community, it's kind of after the fact. So there is a person that is local here, and he is at every con coming and going, and he gets photographs with us. And sometimes his non-con friends have a tendency to be a little on the nasty side. Most of the time,
that's news to me. Keep going. I want to know.
Oh, no.
I'm over here going.
I'm not going to name names, just so you know. I'm not going to name names or anything
either.
like that because that's not my nature.
Name them off. Name them in the green room when we're done.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all know this person.
Who you're talking about, but I might.
We all know this person, and we love this person. And if we see this person, we do get photos with this person. I'm trying to be as vague as possible.
Yeah, I know person.
Yeah, I have. It's a gentleman, and I have had pictures with him. And the more racier the cosplay, he's always getting the comments like, "Yeah, sexy, good going dude," and all this other stuff. However, I know it's a little. I know. I feel a little icky afterwards, but I ended up in a photo with him dressed as Snow White, and the comments, and I was in like the true traditional Snow White gown, and the comments that I got were just kind of nasty, just because I am not young and princessy. And I think that we actually had this conversation last night, Lauren,
We
where
did,
we
yeah.
were talking about it's interesting because what I find is if I do the cosplay of Snow White as the princess, I catch a lot of flack because of my age. And I'm not saying that it is, age related or anything specifically about that, but no, I am not a younger cosplay. I'm actually probably one of the elder cosplays or players. And but if I go in like a casual cosplay, like in my yellow pants and my blue peasant blouse and stuff like that, it's like, welcome, Miss White, nice to see you. Come on in. Everybody, it's a totally different vibe when I am in more of a casual cosplay. But the concept of shaming somebody, whether they fit it, the profile of the character, whether it's weight, size, if it's gender bending, if it is casual cosplay or age, or that is one of those, that to me is just one of my major horror stories, because I can't stand when people start just kind of telling you cannot do this character anymore that you loved and grew up with.
So when years ago, as you can tell, hi, I'm plus size. If you're listening on the podcast and you can't see us, I'm a plus size person. And I was in a cast that did Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog at a convention, the whole show, and I was cast as the Felicia Day character. As a plus size person. And people took pictures. They came, they watched the show, they posted their pictures online. I was so excited to go see who had posted and all of that. And I went to go look, and that was my first time ever doing something like that in the cosplay community. This was my first convention, I think, going in and actually cosplaying. And the comments were very not nice. It was very much like, oh my God, why did they cast her? She doesn't hold a candle to Felicia. I will never forget that dang line. She doesn't hold a candle to Felicia Day. And nicely enough, the person who posted the stuff went back to whoever was commenting that and said, yeah, but you didn't hear her sing. And I was just like, okay,
fair.
Thank you.
I think that's when I got one of my first really negative ones, was as I was transitioning from being the smaller cosplayer into the larger size. And my friends and I, we'd all know I love doing panty, stocking, and garter belt with my friends from the anime. Yeah. I was stocking. I made all the costumes. I did everything but my friend's shoes, her wig, and a couple of small details. And we got posted on the Funimation's Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
The guy that was running Funimation stopped us at the con, and everybody's like, oh, that panty's amazing. That garter belt, look at him. Not sure about that stocking. And I'm over here going, well, I made all the costumes and I'm that stocking, so thank you. I'm just like,
what a jackass.
And then, of course, then they kind of come back. You're like, oh, well, your costume looks really good. And you're like, okay,
yeah,
whatever,
cool. But we all know you were commenting on my body. Thanks.
Yes. And I was in that weird phase of going, okay, I'm not the thinner cosplayer that I was when I started. I was uncomfortable with the weight I had put on at the time. And so I'm like, thanks. You're just going to give my anxiety. You're great. Lovely human.
Right.
A+. Well,
but and
he loves Mark Dejournay, like he said, he loves all the fellow plus size cosplayers.
Thank you.
That's what, when Mark came on, that's what we discussed when he was on our show the first time, because he wanted to discuss being a plus size cosplayer. They get the most flack. Them and people that are not the same race as the character.
Absolutely.
And as long as you're not blackfacing.
I have to throw age in there too, because a lot of people will give if a 90-year-old is cosplaying like a 50-year-old character, they will go at them. If a 30-year-old is cosplaying an 18-year-old, they will go at them. Like, if you're not the right size, the right race, the right age, if you don't exactly amplify, there's going to be someone out there who's like, well, actually,
you're like,
yeah, but those are usually not even the convention people who run the conventions.
No, right.
Those are the guests who do all of that kind of stuff. I do have a question.
Yes.
About have you ever had someone who's like an actual person, either a guest or someone working at the convention, come at you or be rude to you about something like that?
Not a actual guest, but an attendee. And not so much rude to me and you, but we kind of got the impression. So Lauren and I are basically known for the people who we're known to be the people who will not only correct somebody, but we will chase them down and make sure that they are exited from the building. We've done that
if they're making fun of children.
Absolutely.
They con mom hard, guys.
Oh, you aren't even kidding. We con mom hard, but we also, we consider ourselves the goth moms when we go to events. We consider
You're
ourselves
the cool moms too.
I know we are. We are the one that is always trying to protect the younger generation.
Yep.
There was an event that we were at, and there was a couple of youngsters, and that were running around, and they were taking photos and videos of cosplayers, and then they were like, we don't know exactly what they were doing, but they were doing something on their phone and then laughing about it, and they walked up and did it with us.
Mm-hmm. And this person who came, all right, so it was like a group of late teenagers, like,
yeah,
better,
16 to 20-year-olds here. We're talking, and they're running up to cosplayers and they're going, "Oh my god, hi, I'm your biggest fan. Can I please get a photo with you?" And they're one of them is doing that, and they're taking a photo with the cosplayer and then running off to the rest of the group and pulling up the photos and laughing at the cosplayer for taking a photo with this person. And they did it to us, and I saw them do it to a couple of other people, and it wasn't until the point that I saw them do it to a child cosplaying that I was like, Dale,
come on, we're going. And we honestly, we went after them and confronted them. And we
don't ride at dawn, we ride now.
No, absolutely, we ride now. And no, we actually went after them and just immediately we caught them, and they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, you did it with us, you jacklegs. I'm trying to be nice now. So and then we brought it to the attention of the con organizers, and of course what you run into is somebody has paid their ticket fee. A lot of times the con organizers are not going to kick them out because they won't, unless they do something business.
If they do something physical, they might. But I mean, but that's, people are going to laugh. What are you going to do about it?
But that is one of those things that really skates the line of bullying. It was alarming enough for us watching these interactions to go, okay, they did it to us, we're okay, but they just did it to a small child, a young person,
kid like 7 to 9 years old.
Yes,
no, that's horrible.
And you don't bully anyone because you don't know how long they've done this, what kind of funds they have to put into it, what access they have. If they have help, you don't do that. You're supposed to lift each other up, but it's usually rarely another cosplayer that does it. Like we said, it's a lot of times the people on the outside looking in that do all of this, the cringe videos and all that kind of stuff after a con.
And I think what a lot of people miss with this is if you start bringing that type of interactions into this environment. I mean, we already know there's going to be people who are going to take inappropriate photos. They are going to try to lay hands on you. But when you start bringing the bullying element into it, those are the things that completely decimate a community. So the events that you are going to, that you may absolutely enjoy, I mean, I look at it this way. This group of people, these group of, I mean, they were teenagers, came in and paid money. I am sure that this is not the only event they've gone to. They seem to be very comfortable with it, but that's the way that you destroy those type of interactions. I mean, when you think about cons before the fan licking Norman Reedus and the way that, I saw that face, but so Norman Reedus.
Wrong.
No, well, Norman Reedus was actually known at one time back in the day. If you did photo ops with him, a lot of times he would lick you in the face. I mean, he would like lick your neck, lick your face.
He's a little weird.
I don't have a problem with it. I would have been like, go ahead and lick my face, Norman Reedus.
If people are okay with it, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I say you're a licker though, DL. Any dang photo of us and you're licking me at some point.
At some
point,
I'm
licking you. We lick each other. That didn't sound right. That doesn't help everyone thinking that we're in a relationship. Continuing on. Sorry,
but
I ship it.
But there was a fan that approached him and basically returned the favor, I guess, and he was not hip to the idea. And so the way that the photo ops and meet and greets kind of seem to change surrounding that specific incident. I don't know if that was the one particular one that caused the change, but just kind of keep in mind when you start having these type of negative interactions, eventually the actions are going to cause change, and the change could be good, the change could be bad. It could be something where you no longer have access to these type of events. You no longer see cosplayers wanting to go out and do these type of events. And quite honestly, we love doing them, but Lauren and I are also really big into finding other opportunities to go out and cosplay and play. And, it's not just cons.
Julie Hall McDaniel, she's a very good friend of all of ours. Her husband, her daughter, her others, all of their children. We
big
love
con
Julie.
Family.
Yeah,
but
huge con
family. Like she said, if you get good security at the cons, they catch a lot of that. And Tupelo, one of the security, actually made sure to come up to us to let us know of an individual, and they were looking for them to remove them. If you've got people that want a good con, they're gonna watch.
There are conventions that do it right. Like a great example, and I said I wasn't going to name drop, but hey, I'm name dropping because this is a good example. This is a good example. Now I forgot the name of the convention. Horror, freaking Texas
Frightmare.
Thank you. Texas Frightmare. My husband and I went, and we took our youngest. At the time, she was about 2 or 3, and we're walking around. I'm in my Velma cosplay. And my Velma was it's a lower cut Velma cosplay. It's like pinup Velma. And there was some guy who had his phone directly in front of his chest, like here, who kept jumping in front of me, trying to get cleavage shots. And like, dang it, dude, if you just asked, they're there.
I'm like, but like, I'd hike them up for you.
Yeah, the way that he was doing it, trying to be secretive, while my like 2 to 3 year old is directly next to me walking with me.
It's creepy.
Like it was really uncomfortable and weird. And I was just like, security, and they were on it. They were just like, get out. They kicked him out of the convention. They had him gone. And I was like, all right, they don't mess around. Good. All right, cool. And we just continued on our happily merry way.
Yeah.
But Texas Frightmare is very much like that. Not necessarily just with the attendees. I've been a couple of times. Lauren's been a couple of times, and it's always just a phenomenal experience for the fans to come in and interact. But there's also I love horror cons. Lauren does too. And one of the things that really just kind of captured my attention with those is the way that horror fans approach and interact with the guests. So with something like Texas Frightmare, it's not uncommon for you to stay on site. And if you're in the convention hotel, you end up in the presence of all of these people. The last one that we were at, Juliette Lewis was checking in. Let's see, Barbara Steele was on the elevator with me. I was fangirling and trying not to, but there's an element of respect when you are in the same space with one of those stars. So I was there actually to meet and get some items signed from Lisa Schrage, who was the Mary Lou in Prom Night 2. And I was on the elevator with her a couple of times. We actually helped her like get to her floor and stuff. I mean, we were there. So when I came up, she was like, "What?" She's like, "I saw you. I know you. I was in the elevator with you." She recognized me, and she recognized the Cabana Boy. Oh no. It was amazing. And she's like, "Why didn't you talk to me?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't want to be rude because, you're this is your own space." And that's kind of a common thing that you see in those type of environments where you're not rushing and crowding the celebrity that is there with you, that you're actually being respectful of them.
You still give them their time because they're not on the clock then.
Yes, absolutely.
That's their personal free time.
Absolutely.
Thinking like being on an elevator, I was years and years and years ago at one of the early Anime Blues, one of the voice actors that was here, Todd Habercorn. I'm on the elevator with him. I was going up to the next floor to get a drink. I'm half in cosplay, so I've got like bright red contacts and my wig cap on, looking a little crazy. I was a character from one of the anime he voices, so it's fine. But, I just got on, I said hi, but there's this other girl in the elevator and she's just over there, nervous, fidgeting, like staring at him. And I'm just like, hi, you're a person. What's up? I'm going to get me a drink. And I know they are used to those interactions, and yes, we get starstruck, but calm down because they're just people too. Don't make them go, oh, I shouldn't come back to this one.
Right? Yeah. All right. We're halfway through
anime
the
cons
episode.
are worse than any others.
I was about to say we're halfway through the episode. Can we
yes.
Can we spill tea?
Mm-hmm.
What are like the worst like with the people who have ran a con or the other people who are guesting at a con, not really like the people attending the convention, because like when you deal with the general public, it's just that's going to be a thing. But when it comes to conventions that you've worked with or other attendees of the conventions, what are your tea spilling? What are the big ones that you're like, I never want to again?
Andrea, I think Andrea and I have some really bad experiences in some of the local cons. I think we all, we're
not going to name con names to try and be nice.
Yeah.
Because we're being as nice as can. But yeah.
We're spilling the tea, but we're not going to spill the whole pot, just the cup.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're not dumping the pitcher.
No. This is okay. 3 of us are over here in Memphis. We're not spilling the sweet tea pitcher out.
That's right.
No. Kelly, you were about to say something. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So there's a con organizer up in the Midwest, and most of the people up by me know who I'm talking about, who has been accused of multiple instances of sexual assault, who continues to run cons. At least one of them is, I think they're both anime-based cons. And this man, it's terrible. And he continues to run cons and awful.
I feel like you're telling our story because
absolutely.
Same sexual assault allegations, anime-based con, like keep going.
Keep on going. Yeah, this is sounding familiar.
Yeah. Well, I
think it sounds like it's a lot of times anime-based cons. What is it that?
I think it's because it's a younger con generation, so people who are going to take advantage are drawn to that younger, more naive fan base that they can take advantage of because they're drawn to that power. It is unfortunate. So, if y'all are wondering the name of the con, please DM me for safety, because this is a safety issue and I want everyone to be safe. But we're not going to spill the tea online because we don't want to
attack us and we'll get sued.
Honest, also, when you start dealing with conventions in general, whether it is a regular con and I see this more so with anime cons, and please correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of the costumes for anime characters seem to be a bit fetishized. And there's a lot of scroll girls, upskirts. I mean, anime in general, if you think about it, is extremely fetishized. Fetish is that fetishized?
Just think fetish and be
fetish,
like eyesed.
We all speak the English real well.
Yeah, we can.
We do good.
Yeah,
we talk good.
But I think that, when you start thinking about it, so there are cosplays that we put together. I'm a Catwoman cosplayer and I love the character, but I also realize that it is basically bondage gear. I mean, let's get honest with you. I am in latex with
too many tentacles.
You know what?
That's a totally different show, Joey. Thank you so much.
I am dressed as Ursula, y'all.
I was just going to say, you are the octopus queen tonight.
There are some stories on the dark side of the internet about Ursula, I'm sure. I have not stumbled upon them, and I do not.
Will now.
Dang
the
it,
AI is listening to you
later.
If the AI is listening, it's now going to be all over your Facebook feed.
Just
Ursula tentacle
wait.
porn.
Yeah, just wait.
I
You're getting that.
I already get the werewolf ads. I don't need that in my life.
I don't get the werewolves. I get the fae.
Oh, I get the werewolves, and you know
I'm
what?
starting
They
to realize
got me.
y'all
I
got some
started
kinks
reading
going on
some
up
of
in
them,
her.
and like every dang book is the exact same story.
I'm starting to realize I'm starting to learn everybody's kink up in here. I mean, just so you know.
If you've met my husband, you know I like furry men. I mean, come on.
There is that.
Oh,
There is that.
boy.
No, but I mean, if you think about the costumes are a lot of times very, I mean, even
They're
like
really revealing and
absolutely
young girls.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They're on very young characters.
Even all the way back to like more innocent stuff like Sailor Moon, the transition sequences up the skirt like every dang time.
Skirts are this big and their legs are this long.
Oh no, they're designed to be fetishy. But I mean, here's the thing. There are characters that we all pick that we like. And we actually had an experience. It wasn't our direct experience, but we had a friend of ours who is also another Catwoman cosplayer, was contacted by a con. There's a local con here in Memphis to be a guest at. Yeah, just a guest at. My understanding is from communication with her directly and with some of our con family that her choice of cosplay was approved, but the person that was coordinating and running the cosplay the convention started contacting her direct, going, "Hey, I really would like for you to show up wearing your Catwoman gear." Which, I mean, so Lauren and I have been invited to like a 901 Gotham here in Memphis. And I mean, that's pretty much spelled out. If I'm going to like a Harry Potter convention, if we're going to 901 Gotham, if we're going to something that is very specifically themed, exactly. Yes, it is. I think at that point it is kind of appropriate to say, hey, and I noticed that you do this character. Would you consider doing this character for this event? But for just a generalized con, for a older gentleman who is coordinating the event to approach a younger woman and ask her to show up dressed as this character. And then we find...
Am I getting this wrong, or does this older gentleman's wife also cosplay the same character, but he wanted this younger girl to cosplay this character instead of his wife?
Yes, absolutely. And in addition to that, you know, he continued to kind of press on, you know, I really want you to do this. And she came back and she kind of held her ground and she did not cosplay the character. And as she was leaving, he approached her and said, well, I'll just get our photographer friend to, who is a common friend of ours, to Photoshop you into images with me as Catwoman. It got so creepy. I'm like, these weren't
even the only issues with this convention. This convention was very rude to a lot of different people. And I'm not talking about, this was the one instance. I'm saying they were rude to DL.
Yep.
They were rude to me. They were rude to an artist friend of ours. They were rude to another. Like, I have about 7 different people messaging me saying, oh, hey, they refused to let me vend this con because I'm non-binary.
Yes. Yes, we discussed this with multiple friends of ours because people asked me, they asked my brother Scoot if he was an artist at it. He's like, no, because this is a certain day. I'm doing other stuff. I showed up for a little bit, but you know, the more stories I heard, I'm like, this one's going to be lucky if it has another year.
I know for a fact that several of the people that we know who attended or have no intentions of returning to it just because of the experience.
Yeah.
Said photographer friend.
Many, like the artist friend who I was speaking with is like, I don't think I'm coming back. The reactions that I had, like, originally, so whenever you have a con, like a group that you usually go with, if one of them hits a con that no one else has heard of, they reach out to their friends and like, hey guys, this con invited us to this thing. Why don't you reach out to them? Like, you bring your friends with you to these things. And so one of our friends got this convention, and we were like, cool, we'll reach out. And they were, even though they had specifically like used DL in another instance for to be their Halloween person on something, they're
Halloween goth girl.
Their Halloween token goth girl.
Yep.
They didn't want anything to do with us at this convention. And I'd reached out, she'd reached out, I'd sent them our information. Here's our repertoire, here's the things we do. And okay, if they're not interested, okay, fine. But then they reached back out and they're like, hey, we had a spot open, are you still free? And I was like, oh, okay, maybe they were just booked. Yeah, sure. We would love to come. Do you want us to come in a cosplay, or do you just want us to come as the podcasters? And they're like, I don't know. What do you sell? And I was like, we don't sell anything. We're cosplayers. Here's the whole 3.5 paragraphs. If you just scroll a little bit up in the same conversation to explain, hi, here we are, and this is what we do. And they're like, oh, never mind. We don't want people. We want people who are paying us. And I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, they wanted vendors.
But it was, they wanted vendors, but
it was 100% a cash grab, in my opinion. Everything. Because when they came to us, the original conversation that I had with them, when they approached us about being there, when I reached out to them initially, they're like, oh, yes. Now, as you know, as a cosplayer, a lot of times cosplayers do not sell items. As a podcast, we're there to be guests. We are there to add flavor and flair to the convention. And most conventions that we work with, I mean, honestly, we don't pay admission. We don't pay to be at these events. They don't pay us. Yeah. I mean, they don't always pay us, but here's the thing, we are there, trying to help the convention. We're adding a little more depth and a little more flair to it. And a lot of times when we go in, especially Andrea, Lauren, well, all of us, we do panels, we do cosplay contests. We don't just go in with the intent of going, here's our table, I'm going to set my table all day. We work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you
set up a table stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you do sell stuff, you have this much space, it's one little table, and if you want to add on more, that's fine. So, I mean, you could sell to an extent, but you're not going there as a vendor.
No, absolutely. I'm not there to make money. I'm there to represent the cosplay community, and usually to offer my services to the con.
Now, I will say the con the con in question that we are talking about was in a bit of a different environment. It was in more of a conservative, very religious environment. And so I can see where they probably may have had some concerns about, you're making a face, but
I'm sorry, their rules for their cosplay competition were so extreme to the point to where I was to the point where I almost didn't even show up, because they were like, there are no weapons, no scandalous, no skin, no this, no that. And I was just like, I'm a plus size
skin, no scandalous. No scandalous.
I'm like, do y'all know what cosplay is? Come on now. I mean,
it literally said all costumes would be screened at the door, and if they didn't find them appropriate, they would turn you away.
Yep.
Even if you bought your pass.
Yep.
Now, I got a free pass. Everybody I went with got in free because we got free passes from said photographer friend or other people we knew.
Yeah, our said photographer friend was making sure that there was no additional money going into the pockets of the organizers.
And you know what? The reason for that is there is a charity that is around this area that raises money for children. It's a very specific charity. They go to conventions. They raise money for a really good cause.
And these are friends of ours.
They're friends of ours, and they volunteer.
I'll put the other comment back
up. Okay, so no, go ahead.
This one, Diest Cartoons. This con is kind of reminding me of a con I set up back in May. There were some issues people had regarding some people getting lower table rates than advertised. I know for a fact, because this is our friend Devin, you were at that con, sir. You were at the con we were talking about.
Yep.
That describes 2 different cons that I know of that happened recently.
Yeah.
So I don't know which con they were at. Probably the one we're talking about, but also there was another con that also.
He does most of the local ones, so he might have been at both of them.
Well, anyway, the convention I was talking about, like I said, there's this group that goes and they are a fundraiser for children, and they charged this fundraiser who goes in. And by the way, they go in like these really immaculate costumes. They're very fun people. They draw crowds, and they charged them an entire like booth table.
They don't
to be at this convention.
Yeah. They don't sell anything. They're just there. They're present. And there are charitable organizations a lot of times behind. I know for a fact that a lot of the Ghostbuster organizations are charitable. I know like Rebel Alliance and the 501st, a lot of those are charitable. Yeah, all of the Star Wars ones are charitable. Cosplay, they're charitable. So all of these charity organizations that go in and do these events, please understand, if you are charging them vendor prices, you are taking money out of the organization that they're donating to. And to me, that's just crappy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just distasteful. That's really in bad taste.
We have a comment pulled up here. It says, thank you for sharing your experiences. What can I do to make cons safer for all of us?
Yeah, I wanted to keep that one up there so we could talk about that. That's
I was really about to say, we could talk about it here, but also we're going to be doing an entire show with someone who does security at conventions in early August, talking about security, the things that they've gone through, and how to make conventions safer for people. So we'll be covering that like an hour long in depth, but let's go ahead and
go to their show for that one. But I mean, we can touch on it because that is a really good question for sure.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think the best thing to do, don't touch. Okay, first rule of thumb: do not touch people. Kelly, you are a veteran in this community. As a woman who is a veteran cosplayer, and I know that you organize. You've been in the organization of these things. What advice do you have for people who are attending, who are being part of this community, that want to make it more of a safe environment? What have your experiences been, and what do you recommend?
So definitely have a clear policy. I've seen a lot of cons putting cosplay as not consent in their rules, and have a security presence. So, and obviously this doesn't just happen to cosplayers, inappropriate touching. Just want to say that we're really focused on cosplayers because we are cosplayers, but it can happen.
It's most magnified on cosplayers.
Yes, it is. Because people see cosplayers and sometimes they kind of think like they're larger than life. They're their characters, and they just think, oh, okay.
They don't think that we're real people.
Yeah,
they do. And honestly, that's kind of what we're going for. But we are still people.
Yes,
cosplayers are people.
And we're not that person we're dressed as at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You mean I'm not Ursula, damn it?
I'm not a sea witch.
I know.
I'm
kind of glad I'm not Goblin Queen.
I didn't wear the fangs today, so I'm not a vampire. Sorry, guys.
But I think having that built into the rules and having a security team that will actually listen and respond, like you were talking about with the Texas Horror Con, that's the most important, is having a security team that is willing to respond and that makes people feel comfortable. So if people think like, oh, the security team won't do anything anyways.
Yeah.
No, they will. They definitely will.
Take it serious.
One of the most recent conventions that we went to, there was a guest, someone who was a guest of the convention, who made a lot of people very uncomfortable. But they kept making, apparently and you know what? I have nothing against people who make a living making adult content.
No.
Living, that is fine.
That's fine.
But
if that's what you want to do,
yeah. And they were also a guest as a cosplayer at this convention, and they were making a lot of people very uncomfortable because they kept interacting with just regular convention people, and everything they kept saying to everyone was highly sexual, to the point to where I was in the cosplay competition with my, at the time, was she 5 or 6? I don't know. At my youngest, 5 or 6. And
Very
she was
young.
also in the cosplay competition. And this person came over to my child and another child who was younger than her and started making sexual jokes at the children and then looking at the parents like, they don't get it. Ha ha, isn't it so funny? It goes above their heads. Ha ha. And all of us were like, no. This is the same person who like threw their leg over a chair and ended up stomping on the giant headpiece.
Oh, yes.
And I had to have my husband run and rush me my glue gun to fix all of it and to put it back together because this person just decided to I don't know, show me her boots and stomp on this headpiece in the middle of the cosplay competition.
I kind of feel like that might have been intentional.
I don't know, but it was very uncomfortable. And I went to security about it and they were like, thank you. We'll go handle it. But I couldn't find security that night. It was the next day that I went to them about it. But
I know the person you're talking about, and that person is on the lips of most of the Memphis cosplay community because of their behavior.
So we actually were doing, this person was also on at least one panel. This was one of those conventions that, once again, you know, we can share lots of interesting experiences. And this is one of those where we came in and offered panel ideas. And generally, when you book Lauren and I, we're kind of a set. It's kind of like salt and pepper. If you get one, you get the other. Peanut butter and jelly. You know, we kind of go together. You don't separate us out. And generally, if it, like, for instance, even like with social media, Lauren has a massive social media following. I don't have as big of a social media following because I'm more of a in-person, and it's like I don't spend a lot of time online, but I am very active in person in the community. So a lot of times what we find is, so even something like that, I'm like, I will be the mediator for that event or that panel because I can talk about it. But we are always together. And this particular event was kind of separating us. We never knew exactly. It's like, I think your first panel was 8 p.m. Mine was 9 p.m. But this person was actually on one of our panels, and we, I don't know. I'm trying not to miss.
I looked them up online. They go by she, her.
Okay. She, her kind of, would start talking, and you're trying your best because I am the type person that in person I'm going to be as friendly as possible until I'm not, and which you've seen, but you know, I was trying to be as friendly as possible, but this person was just kind of stepping on people during answering questions and stuff, and it was kind of one of those. We had asked somebody to be on the next panel with us. We were like, please stay. We wanted this person. She's an amazing cosplayer. She's an awesome belly dancer here in Memphis. And we're just like, please stay on this panel with us. And her response was, no, I cannot be on this panel because of this other person, because they were trying to slander and cancel her the previous year. I mean, it was an awful, but you know, so here you now have very talented, very experienced people who are not sitting in on panels. And quite honest with you, when Lauren and I do panels, just like Andrea and Kelly, when we do panels, we're not just going to sit in on any panel. We're going to come into panels that we're experts on, that we can add an element of expertise and knowledge
we're going to help with.
Absolutely.
I hate being thrown in on a panel that I don't. What was the panel we were thrown in on? And the person running the panel only wanted to talk to me and didn't want crap to talk to you. But you were the one who like cosplayed someone from that fandom.
It was a Harry Potter panel.
I don't even cosplay a Harry Potter character. And they only wanted to talk to me the entire time. And they were like, F anything this person says. And I was like, no.
I'm like, okay.
Rude.
Okay.
No, the con that we're talking about right now was a dumpster fire to begin with this year.
Yeah,
I agree.
Hardly anyone at it had a good experience.
Oh no.
We actually
guests, artists, attendees,
Mhm.
photographers, like every one of them was just like, I don't know if I'm doing this next year.
I know one person who would come back, and that's because they were treated like freaking royalty because they were the big name. They were the one who drew in all of the people. Other than that, I don't know anyone else.
Apparently, my name has been written in on the have this person as a cosplay guest at that con next year.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm getting to the point now that and I know this sounds really strange, and if this is something that is a different experience for you ladies, please let me know.
Okay.
When I am invited to go to cons out of state, out of city, there are a lot of conventions that we are invited to that are outside of our immediate area. We are treated like royalty. We are treated like, they are excited to have us. And this one particular con that we were just talking about, we were, and don't get me wrong, the first panel that I did, and the panel that I did with you, with our belly dancer friend, was absolutely, those were amazing panels. But it was kind of one of those things where we had no idea if we had a table, which we didn't.
Yep.
We were given all of these. I mean, we had a Friday night panel, all day Saturday panels, a Sunday morning panel. And I'm like, this is not something that we're getting paid to do. Please understand that.
And we told them, like, we have a job. We work Fridays. We cannot make it Friday. Still got scheduled for Friday. I had to leave work early.
Oh, no.
We weren't given a table. And I told them, like, hi, if we're not going to be judging the cosplay competition, we would like to compete. They didn't have a spot for the cosplay competition people to put their stuff until an hour before judging and stuff opened. So an hour, all right, this specific cosplay, this specific convention, their cosplay competition didn't start until 10 p.m. 10 o'clock p.m.
That's the children even.
No.
For the children.
Even. Yes.
Even for the children. And so
Who's awake at that point?
Yeah, no, and we didn't have a table. We had nowhere to set our stuff. And so
everything else was closed up.
Everyone had closed. We ended up putting our stuff over with the photographer who's like, hey, cool, but also they're closed. For some reason, they put the photographer who is supposed to be photographing the people in cosplay inside of the area where they go to sell everything.
Yeah, on the vendor floor.
None of the cosplayers were coming by getting photos because the cosplayers, they wander the halls.
And it was an awkward spot too.
It was a terrible spot. And so he missed half of the dang cosplayers at the convention because of where they put him. They didn't have him where the cosplayers would be wandering around. They threw him in with the people who are going to be selling stuff. And so we were hanging out with him most of the day because off and on we're doing panels randomly. And
we don't have a table.
We don't have a table. I ended up having to sit at a blank table that no one had come to claim yet to do my makeup for the cosplay competition. And so at 7 o'clock, they shut down this room. No one's allowed back here anymore. So I have to, and my husband had to work that night. DL had a bunch of stuff she had to do with her family. So it's just me and my 5 to 6 year old daughter. Both of us are in the cosplay competition that starts at 10 o'clock. And we have piles of, my cosplay has a giant headpiece, a giant cape with this thing, and she has we have bags of cosplay stuff that I'm having to take. It got to the point to where I had to put her in a hallway on a table and say, if anyone touches you, scream, while I have to go and get more stuff and bring out piles of stuff on this random table. Luckily, 10 minutes later, I find Andrea sitting out in the hallway, and I'm like, oh my god, can you please just watch her?
My friend's art table was out there, and we're like, we're cool. Go do what you got to do. We got the child.
Because they had no place for cosplayers to go.
And I know. There are no staging areas.
No staging areas. Yeah. And the cosplay competition is at 10 o'clock at night. And so for 2 to 3 hours, we have nowhere to. We have all of our cosplay and I'm her handler and she's mine, but nowhere to freaking go. Thank God Andrea and her friend were there, and I could be like, can you please just watch her for, and they had a plug, and I could like hot glue my stuff that someone had broken back together, but it was a mad mess, and they took zero consideration in for anyone who is going to be in these intricate costumes for hours upon end and have nowhere to put their stuff.
Here's how obsessive they were. The con suite that is for, vendors and attendees and everything. They came by my friend's table and said, hey, do you want something? They had a friend with them that was kind of crashing from some health problem. And they said, I'll take a bag of chips, because they were going to give them to their friend. They saw them give them to their friend and took them back. They said that is only for vendors and guests.
No!
Oh,
So my friend goes, okay, they're for me, and then waited for them to leave and went, here's your chips. Like literally somebody who was crashing, and they said, oh, that's not you. They can't have that.
I'm sorry. No. That
So,
becomes
my
that becomes
and
here's the
firecracker.
Here's the thing. While we were there, we showed up like our panels were early in the morning, midday, late afternoon, late night. I mean, I had a 9:00 p.m. panel on Friday night.
One of those old school goes really late, but
oh no,
I'm
going to tell you that the 9:00 panel was amazing. You were there, Lauren. I had the best group of authors on my panel with me. We did have some issues with people in the audience not necessarily realizing they were not part of the panel, but that's a story all its own.
That's next episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. But but here's the thing, there were supposed to be a con suite. So most cons that you go to have some sort of con suite for guests and vendors that you can go and either get water, go get food, and
sit down.
Absolutely. This one we went like midday and they were out of everything. The restaurant on site at the convention opened for lunch, shut down completely, and just had bar service, and then opened for dinner. But at that point, I'm just like, I am starving. I need to go get some real food. Yeah. So it was.
Anytime you went up to that con suite at that convention, and the con suite, if you don't know, if you're listening to this, the con suite is for the people who are guests, who are vending, people who are working the convention. And there's food, volunteers, drink, if you need, volunteers, staff, stuff like that. So if you need food, you need drink, you need substance while you're there working, that is where you go to get it. That con suite was out 90% of the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is very, when you start thinking about not having food and just even basic food and water available for people who might be on the floor. When you think about cosplaying, there are a lot of cons that I've been to. There's one in particular that we go to every year. And I know, Andrea, you have actually been there as a vendor and as a guest. I will not have a table there because I have had too many experiences where I've walked in and the AC is just not at all adequate.
That's another great thing to bring up. Do not have a convention in a space that does not have air conditioning.
It becomes it becomes very dangerous. I mean, even if you're looking at like a springtime convention, and here's the thing, I love this convention. Yeah, I absolutely love this convention. I go to it every year. We usually do photos. My husband usually accompanies me and we do photos at this event. But the problem that we run into is there's no AC, which becomes extremely dangerous, in my opinion, for some cosplayers. If I am walking around dressed as I was at this one dressed as Zatanna, and I was wearing a pair of shorts and I had a corset and a jacket on. I should not have been to the point of passing out. I mean, I was overheating. Right. Yeah. I ran into some people who were in like full Mandalorian. I saw, the furries that are there. that becomes very dangerous.
Oh,
And I think that
no.
is something
Oh, how
that
furries do it.
Oh, no. And it's something that I think that convention coordinators need to be highly aware of. If you're wanting cosplayers, and they do, you know, I can't tell you how many times we have been told, please come to this event. We want you to be part of this event. But understand, if you're inviting and you're wanting cosplayers to be there, please be highly aware that these costumes don't breathe. A lot of times there are layers and layers and layers. There's wigs that go with it. And, you know, one of the things that I have run into, I admire your Nadja tonight. I'm absolutely loving this. But I cosplay Nadja as well. And this particular event, my husband and I were there as Nadja and Laszlo. And we were there for,
by the way.
Oh, thank you. We were there for about an hour to 2 hours. We walked the floor, and by the time we got around it maybe 2-3 times, I'm like, I'm dying. I'm like, I have got, you know, the wigs hold in heat, and you are just, I mean, it is so brutally hot. And that is one of the things that I really would like to just really press on event coordinators. If you want cosplayers to be there, especially if you're hosting cosplay contests, please take into consideration these cosplays are very, very hot.
Yeah. I literally travel if I know that I'll have electrical access, I take a fan.
Mhm.
If I don't have electrical access, I have ones that are solar or wall charged, and I charge them in the hotel room and have them at the table, because I'm a hot-natured person even in the wintertime. So I'm always going to be hot. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have seen me in like my big princess gowns just step over a fan, and I'm just like, mind your business. I'm like, just mind your business.
We were doing one recently. Actually, no, it was last year. Probably last year about this time, we were in Tupelo, and getting set up. I got really overheated because, you know, I'm a very hot natured person sometimes, and I remember sitting with my fan literally under my skirt, just blowing up. And I'm like, y'all don't mind me. This is what it is. We're gonna have to cool off the lower bits, and then we're gonna cool off everything else. So.
We look at it more like, this is the side they don't show you when you're not a cosplayer.
No.
This is the sexy side of a cosplay girl.
Everybody wants a cosplay waifu, and they don't realize. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Especially
we have
that are like half out of town or outside.
Dias Cartoons actually said, I want to do more shows out of state. Can you guys give him some advice?
Absolutely. Contact the conventions directly and ask them about whether it is you're vending or if you're wanting to be a guest as a cosplayer. Just contact them directly. Most of the cons that we go to now, we have developed relationships with. If it is something where we don't know them very well, but our photographer friend. So we have a great friend in Huff Photo. And if you have not,
he's actually going to be on the next episode here. So he'll be on.
Oh, fun.
There are, if I'm getting ready to go, so when we got ready to go to start talking with Smoky Mountain, which is coming up in August, we contacted them and said, listen, you need to reach out to Jonathan McDaniel. He's a phenomenal artist. You need to reach out to Huff Photo, because if you're not using him as your on-site photographer, you are missing the opportunities. But you know, just contacting and then also asking your friends if they are there, you know, just say, hey, can you put in a good word for me? Those are great. Oh,
here's an example of Huff Photo's work. And you get to look at our lovely friends in their amazing costumes. You've probably seen
I sent you like
work lately.
I was about to say, I think I sent you probably like at least 5 photos of Huff Photo work.
There's the Velma she was talking about.
Such a good look.
By the way, Scott Ennis loved this Velma and Daphne. Yeah. He said it was very unique and he loved it.
You were
oh God, it was like ice.
It was so. There's the opposite. Too hot or too cold. Please just have some sort of air something.
Well, okay, so I'm not going to fault them for being cold, because quite honestly, it was, we were in the middle of an ice storm. The entire city was shut down, and we were trying our best to help this con, because we knew, here's the thing. If you have a con that you are participating in and there's inclement weather, a lot of times they are one event out from shutting down. You know, here, refund. Absolutely.
Like, they can't ask their guests, give me that money back that we gave you to come to our show. And
right.
And they also told us, they told me and Hunter that they actually had the new heating system that was there, but because of the ice, it was not installed in time for the con.
Yep.
Oh.
And we were sitting, and it was funny because Hunter had one of those little hand warmers.
I had hand warmers.
Oh yeah, she had one of those little hand warmers, and she was sitting on it. I didn't realize that, and I like picked it up, and I'm like putting it on my face.
Ma'am, that was up my cheeks.
I know. I'm like that was my hoo-ha warmer. I'm like, oh, okay.
I actually sold some stuff at that con, but people were coming up to me like I was a drug dealer. Like, I heard you have hand warmers.
You're like, yes, $20. $20.
I was in my Clea costume with that cape just wrapped around me. But then you went to the room that they had the panels of the cosplay contest, and the heat was working too well up there.
Yes. You know what? I will give that con some credit, though. Like, they had a crappy situation thrown at them. The person who was supposed to be running the entire cosplay competition couldn't make it because they were literally snowed in. Well,
they tried. They hit their mailbox.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was about to say
neighbor's mailbox.
But like the person who's supposed to be running it couldn't make it, so we ended up taking over. And to give them so much dang credit, I walked in and I was just like, "Hi, that's the photographer, but we're judging the cosplay competition. Also, it's cold up there, so we're gonna move your photographer over here next to us. There's an empty spot. Is there is there a plug somewhere for them to plug?" Like, I just walked up and was like, "Hi, I'm changing your entire dang setup," and they went with it. So
they trusted us to go. We knew what we needed. They trusted us because we've worked with them a few times. Mm-hmm. So they're like, okay, they came out. Let's listen to them and use what they say, because they're like, these people drove like almost 2 hours on roads
on ice.
Didn't know if,
on ice. On ice.
We didn't know if the interstates and the highways were going to be clear. They were once we got to them, but it was getting out of your neighborhood. It was so
well. And our photographer friend, I'm sorry, I have a gnat that keeps flying by. If y'all are wondering what I'm doing here, but
I just wear my wig all the time, so it's fine. I'm just like,
our photographer friend, we actually got kind of panicky that he wasn't going to make it because he started to leave his house and like was just sliding down the street. So I mean, this was one of those. The fact that it happened at all was basically just an absolute miracle.
They're doing a makeup later this year. They're like, you know what? We know people couldn't make it. We're gonna try again.
And I love that.
They made the best of what they had. Mm-hmm. It was not a bad turnout for the weather and people going, I'm not even going to try. It was pretty decent.
We had only complaints I heard were that it was cold, and they didn't have.
And that was me. I was complaining the entire time.
I mean, that was all of us. My daughter was like buried underneath jackets at one point.
We couldn't find her. She's just under blankets and jackets.
Yes. But I mean, they did the best they could with what they had. Yes. It was either cancel, lose all of that money, and never have a convention again, or go with it and people are just going to be freaking cold for a while.
And they had phenomenal guests. They always have phenomenal guests, and the guests showed up. I don't think there was any major cancellation. So,
no.
And that's one of the things that really I love is that, the con community still made the effort to come out and support this group.
Yes. They did it right. They made the best of a crappy situation. They still treated all of us with courtesy and dignity. We were not belittled. The people that showed up were like, oh my God, thank you for coming. The people that were talking to us, they're like, I can't believe you still made it. You came from Memphis to here. And we're like, yeah, we were on the guest list.
Is that February? Was that this past
It was February when we got that. No.
And here's the thing.
That was January because that con was on my mom's birthday. Because remember, my mom was going to go with me.
That's right, but she couldn't.
I will schedule that con on my calendar every year because quite honestly, they are phenomenal to work with. Sometimes, and we understand that sometimes they are a little bit slow to respond, and please do not ever, for once being Stay Puft wasn't too bad.
For once being Stay Puft wasn't so bad at that one.
Yeah.
No, I think that and the furry might have been the only ones that were not cold.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We had a Jack Skellington who was full suited up as well with a mask and all.
We were not. We were freezing the entire time, and I actually had a jacket on. I'm like, my cosplay incorporated a jacket.
I was so dang
full
happy
leggings and everything under my suit.
I had thigh highs, and my thigh highs were like sock material. They were warm thigh highs, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever."
It was an experience, but it was still fun. We still had a good time.
And you know what? That con did the best they friggin' could, but people online were so mean to them, so unnecessarily, like they could make the weather do what they wanted to, or like they had any sort of choice as to rescheduling these celebrity appearances who only have
they could tell Scott Innes to come back later.
And they were so unnecessarily. If you were one of those people and you were yelling at that convention online for like continuing the convention, shame on you, because like what do you want them to do?
Have a right to go in November.
I hope you step on Legos.
Absolutely.
Because they were so good to us.
So here is one of my takeaways that I have. And yes, we will still book with cons that we love and that we've had good experiences with. But the other thing is that over the last couple of years of us doing this, we have started to develop a relationship with these con organizers. And, quite honestly, it's like we have one coming up in Covington, which Andrea, by the way, you're doing the cosplay contest with us, right?
I told her that, and she was like, "I wasn't invited to."
Yes, you were. You're invited by me.
They were supposed to reach out, but they didn't. Apparently,
no. This was
had any con.
I'm inviting you.
Okay, I can be there Saturday. It's too late for me to take off for Sunday, but I can be.
That's all we need is Saturday. And you know what? I'm just gonna text them and be like, "Hi. Do we have anyone to judge? Because our friends said they go."
Oh, wait, this is not Nerds Assembled that I'm talking about. This is our friends at Covington.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so our friends.
I haven't been reached out. I was apparently supposed to be been contacted by Nerds Assemble as well, but I didn't.
It's okay. We know that we're. Yeah. Okay. I am inviting you to. I am personally inviting you. And the coordinator knows that I'm inviting you. So you are going to be one of the guests and you can join us at our table. But we are also doing the cosplay contest. So, that just so you know. But here's my thing.
So I have to look like I know what I'm doing.
Somebody does.
Oh, we're all screwed.
All right. Does anyone back on the topic? There's a topic.
Is there?
There's a topic. We're spilling tea, or supposed to be. At this point, we're like 17 minutes past the hour.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm gonna spilled a lot of tea.
I'm gonna throw a couple more out there real quick before we end.
Okay.
There was a convention that we were media guests at, and being media guests, that meant we were supposed to walk around, film the convention, advertise the convention, talk to the guests, get them to say a little, "Hey, come on down to blah, blah, blah con." And that was our job. And we were supposed to edit that together and put it online and advertise the convention. Well, apparently this specific convention, it's not a giant, it's a pretty decent sized one, but it's not like a big giant one. And they didn't have specific media passes. And so for the fact that we didn't have a pass that said media on it, I was walking, I did like 3 different videos for this convention. One of them was to showcase different vendors and what people were selling and what was going on there. Another one was just talking about like getting ready to go and going to the convention. Get ready with me. And look, we're at the convention. And the third one was speaking with the different guests. I did 3 videos for this convention. And I walked up to the guest and I was like, hey, I'm here with the media pass. Can I just get you real quick saying something, blah, blah, blah. And there were so many nice guests who were like, yes, like Scott Innes. Like he's done so many conventions
Freak
around
Wilson.
this area. Yeah. Freak. There were so many nice guests.
Sam Jones, he was amazing.
Yeah, Butterbean, the
Butterbean, yeah.
And there was one person who I walked up to and I was like, I gave him the same. I don't start filming and like shove a camera in their face. I hold it off and I'm just like, hey, just so you know, I'm here with this. And they're like, well, how do we know that? And I was like, because I say I am. Like,
you came running back to my table like, guess what just happened?
They were so mean. They almost had me crying. I went up to this person. This guest wouldn't even talk to me, looked up at me and looked back down like I was freaking nothing, and had his little like person there to talk for him talk to me instead, and also had a con security person there with them. And I was like, hey, I'm here with the media pass, and I was just wondering if we can get a little like, hey, blah blah. And he was like, well, who are you with? What are you with? What news media outlet are you with? And I was like,
which news media outlets
I'm
are
here
showing
with
up
the
at a
ice
con?
cream queens, and I'm here on the media pass, and I don't.
Because a
And I
podcast
told
is
them
media.
all of that, and they were like, yeah, we don't talk to people like that. And blah blah blah, and prove that you're here with the media. You don't have a media pass. Look at your pass. It doesn't say media pass. They were so unnecessarily rude. I was about in dang tears.
You were upset when you came back to me.
I was so upset, and I like because they attacked. If they were just like, hey, like we charge money for people to talk to us, even if it's for like media appearances, so like we'd rather not. Fine.
Don't be
rude.
rude.
Were so attacking and accusatory for no dang reason. And I went up to the front desk and I was about to tear, and I was like, hi, is there a specific media pass we're supposed to get to do this? And they're like, no, we've never needed one. We've never had a guest who like demanded one or anything. And like at one point, we were really thirsty. This specific convention, it was very hot. They did not have air conditioning. There was a couple places where you could kind of get a breeze, but the majority of the con was so like sweating hot, like the humidity hot.
And this was a cooler month.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
this was like a cooler month. It was really hot inside. And they told us, so like, oh, if you need waters, just go back to the green room back there and get a couple waters. And so I had DL's daughter with me at one point. And they're like, yeah, just go get some water. And I was like, okay. And so we went back there to get some water, and the exact same person who was like the security guard, I'm gonna yell at people person for this one person's like, why are you back here? What are you doing? Blah 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 blah, and like started yelling at us for being back there. Like,
You get that
media guest.
You get that one person on a power trip because they are a volunteer at a con.
Oh, we've had that a couple of times.
This was this guest. It wasn't even the person working at the convention. It was like this celebrity's like personal assistant or personal assistant, whoever that they had pulled in with them. And the funny thing is I went back and I asked them, and I was like, are we supposed to have a thing or this or that? And they're like, no, but just wondering, because I happened, and this was actually later. We ran into them later in the evening because we went to the same place to eat. The same person was like, just wondering, who was it? The person who was doing all of this to you? And I named their name, and they're like, yeah, we've heard a lot about that person. That they've been a very fun person to be with. I don't think they're ever going to be invited back again. And I was like,
oh, well,
dang.
Nice. I'm not going to say names, but I will say this, that they were part of the Scream franchise, and my daughter was there to meet this person, and based on that experience, did not spend a dime at that table, did not go up, did not get to do the meet and greet, did not get signatures, did not do anything. Basically, the response that this person's table and their handler had with Lauren and then later with her cost them. Yep. And I am sure that is not an isolated incident, but she's a huge fan of the Scream franchise. And that was, I mean, honestly, she was there for that person. And it was such a huge disappointment for somebody who is a avid horror fan, who this is her, I mean, Scream is her, I'm sorry, not Scream. Was it Scream or Saw?
Saw.
Thank you. My bad. Saw is her comfort
film. Yeah,
absolutely. That's her comfort horror. She plays Saw to go to sleep at night. I know that's a little weird, but we're not going to get into that.
We're horror girls. We're
horror girls. But it was such a horrible experience dealing with this one person. It didn't cost her, but I'll tell you what, she is not a fan of that particular person at all anymore. So it did cost that person a fan. And quite honest with you, she has shared that experience. So not only did it cost that person a single fan, it costed them multiple fans. Based on her interaction, there are people out there who are just like, ew. I mean, keep in mind that.
It got to the point to where, like, after I talked with the front desk and I was like, is there a media pass? And they're like, no, we've never needed one, but here's a vendor sticker if that helps. And they gave me a little vendor sticker, and they gave me enough vendor stickers for the rest of our, because like DL and the Cabana Boy, we're a media crew together. We were there to cover the con. I was just doing extra on top of it to try and like advertise on my TikTok and all of that. I didn't have to.
No.
But I mean, no offense, DL, but I have a lot more pull on my TikTok when it comes to views and stuff. And so if I can pull on there to advertise a con, I'm going to.
No, I'm not going to. No. For those who are not following her,
you should.
Geeky Gothic Girl, honestly, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of fans on TikTok. And if you
well deserved.
I love that she's over here like that.
But I mean, here's the thing. Like, hundreds of thousands of fans. And when you have a bad experience with a celebrity and you are doing that to somebody who's got hundreds of thousands of fans, do you not think that we don't share those type of situations?
Yep.
Well, like I'm sorry,
that made my eye twitch.
I went back to the creator, to the person, and they almost didn't even let me near this guest, by the way, because they thought I was apparently like some kind of crazy fan or something. So I went up to the security person, and after I spoke to them, I like made my way up to the guest and their, I don't know, person that does their interactions for them when they deem someone
handler
not acceptable enough to talk to. And I was like, by the way, they said that there's not a media pass and they've never needed one before, but they did give me this sticker here. So you know what, next time, just maybe like, if you don't want to talk to someone, just say that. Like,
that's all you have to say. I mean, that's literally all they had to say is, I just don't want to make the video. Or thank you.
Like,
no.
I usually charge a certain amount of money to do advertisements for this. They did not have to sit there and cross-examine and question and quid pro quo me on whether I was supposed to actually be there. Like, dude, just don't. No other person here had that, like, I have to know that they're like, oh yeah, cool, let's do it.
I don't care who you are, what level of your celebrity, whatever. Just be nice. Because you're going to get more people.
I have never approached somebody with a media pass on, whether it is a con issued media pass. Now, I will say that I do have a media pass that is our brand, not Ice Cream Queens, but Toy Robot Visual Arts, that I've used in the past. And I mean, maybe we just need to make sure that we have our own, like, maybe it's some things where we need to have our own media pass created so they can say, hey, we're with Ice Cream Queens, But honestly, I mean, I have approached pretty well-known celebrities and had conversations with them and had interactions with them, and had like quick Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes. Absolutely. I mean, I sat at the table with him, and he was the nicest person ever. Elvira, Cassandra Peterson. We've had those type of interactions where you have these one-on-one interactions. The con in particular that she is talking about, we went out to dinner with Scott Ennis, Creek Wilson, and Sam Jones. Oh my God. I'm like, we are not.
It wasn't even just them. It was like the entire people who ran the convention too. Like we invited them out and we were having dinner, and then at the same place, the people who were also running the entire convention also just happened to show up. So we ended up having dinner with this giant group of people who were running this, the celebrities, the people running it. It was great.
I went back to the hotel room and crashed.
Oh, you should have came with us.
I know. I was so tired. I about passed out in the hotel room as soon as Hunter and I got there.
If it makes you... I just want to throw this out there. This is my one tiny little bragging point. I was invited back to one of the people's hotel rooms.
I bet I know who.
Just shh. But it was one of those like, oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. But I'm married. And they're like, well, they're a very lucky man. And I'm like, yes, they are.
He's right there.
Oh, yeah. That is very flattering, though.
No, I mean, and that's one of the things that we do. I mean, when we go out and we do these events, we try not to only be like the fangirl that or the entertainment aspect of it that's going on and going, here, can we just get a quick segment with you? Quite honestly, we want to develop relationships with everybody that we come in contact with, and now, I mean, we have these people that are on these celebrity lists for these events that I'm like, this is my con family. I'm like, these are people that I love. I absolutely adore. And if it wasn't for these type of events, we would not have access to interact and get to know these people. And they are absolutely amazing. And we will always advocate for them, for their projects, for their interests. Absolutely.
Anything Sam Jones is doing, he's not even on Facebook. He was so not. If you don't know who Sam Jones is, if you watch the original Flash Gordon, Queen did the whole score for it. It had Richard O'Brien in it, who wrote Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Sam Jones was anyway, he was Flash Gordon. And he came out and he ate dinner with us, and this is a giant table of like, I don't know, 8 to 12 people. And apparently he has this thing to where whenever he is out, he learns everyone's name. And it got to the point at the end of the night where he could sit there and be like, okay, that one's Donna, that one's Trinity, that one's this, that one's that, that one's that. And he sat there and named every single person's name. And we had this whole thing where he was like, I want to get to know you. I want to know who you are as a person. I want to remember who you are and your face. And it was so dang cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I have always had the biggest crush on him. I don't know if that was obvious.
You looked at me like I was nuts when you were getting an autograph, and I walked up and I was like, hey, by the way, we're going to this place for dinner. You want to join? And you looked at me like, the heck?
I know. I'm over here fangirling, and she's inviting him to dinner. I don't know what the hell was going on. It was amazing, though. But I mean, that is just the nature of our friend group. This is the nature of what we do. It's like we try to, and those are the interactions that make these type events so worthwhile. You have those interactions. I mean, whether it is us going out and doing that, or us having, getting back to Andrea, you have been over to Lauren's house on a couple of occasions now where we just like, hey, we're going to have dinner. Come on over, hang out. Yeah. Kelly, we just go, we're going to have the con family hang out without a con.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or hey, let's do. Let's do a photo shoot and.
I'm going to change the subject real quick because we've been on here for a half an hour more than our designated time. Can we run through like really quick our photos And then
Yeah.
I really have to go mom after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
got
let's go
pictures
through
telling.
these. Yep. So this
Okay.
one is
Go for it, DL.
the licking. The licking.
I know. Yeah.
I told you about the licking.
I know. It's there's
You
so
did.
many photos, and that is I do have a new Catwoman cowl, so hopefully that will not have my hair sticking out in the back in the future. Okay. Okay, so this was
one.
actually not at a con. This was the same photographer, but this was at a Beltane. It was hosted by the Broom Closet, who are really good friends of ours. And this was a Fae evening for Beltane, and of course, Lauren was wearing her lovely award-winning Medusa, and I was a unseelie queen. So we had a Seelie queen with us too. But this is I don't know that we have a picture with her though. Okay, go ahead.
We need to.
Probably somewhere.
But
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, she's amazing.
Miss Frizzle.
Miss Frizzle and Bellatrix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gothic Frizzle. Thank you. Someone got it.
Carmen Sandiego and Beetlejuice.
Yes.
That Beetlejuice is on the cover of one of Huff Photos magazine.
Absolutely.
That is
I think
correct.
this is just being
It's
gothic
just
and
us.
in love. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
this is
this
us every day. Every
That
single
was
day.
when we got bored at a con, and that's the Stay Puffed picture.
This is what
yeah.
we look like outside of cosplay.
Pretty much every day. Yeah,
So
this is
cute.
everyday attire.
Oh,
So
no,
we
wait,
are
no,
going to
this
be at Nerds
Oh,
Assemble.
yep.
Oh,
Oh, go
that was
back.
Magda. So we are going to be at Nerds Assemble, and that is coming up on July 22nd and 23rd. Am I 27th and 28th?
27th
It's
and
like-
28th.
27, 28.
I don't know where I'm going to be. That's in Jonesboro, Arkansas. That is, we are hosting the cosplay contest.
Mhm.
And if you come out, just keep in mind, this one is on a campus. They are a university campus. They are very strict about not having even
weapons.
prop weapons
Yeah.
because that can be an issue on campuses. So, but,
Mhm.
I'll
and
have
you
a
can
sonic
see,
screwdriver, but that's it.
in addition
That's
to Carmen and Beetlejuice, there's Wendy and Ronald or Ronnie. So, yes, we
Those
do
ones
have
are like so tiny.
but there's
Yeah,
also
I think we have those in there somewhere else.
Oh,
There we
okay, so
go.
yeah, Wendy and Ronnie. So that one was a lot of
So
fun.
cute.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I
We
look
should do
stupid
that
as a
again.
redhead.
We should do that for the next convention.
Oh, okay. So Lily and Oogie Boogie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That was at Corinth.
I
that was
love
at
your
Corinth.
Lily.
Thank
And
you.
I
That was
love
last
Oogie
year's
Boogie.
Corinth.
Lady D and Tiffany and Wednesday. This is our family photo.
Mm-hmm. Everyone was in black and white, and we're like, we have to.
I know it matches so perfectly.
Look, and Huff
Magda.
And
literally entertains our stupidity. He lets
does.
us do whatever we
Oh, yeah.
want.
Magda as Black Widow. Oh my God. Isn't this perfection? I'm just sorry. I'm like, I know
I
she couldn't
know.
join us tonight, but oh my God, she's amazing. She is a huge collector of Living Dead dolls. And that actually, the last one you popped up was one of her Living Dead dolls cosplays. And I
They're
can't
up
remember.
that way.
Is that one Lizzie Borden?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
But either way, I've got to
Kinda
hop
looks
off.
like
I
it.
have I need to like go adults and children and
Okay,
stuff.
we love you. Yeah, I have to go in a
Love you.
minute too.
Absolutely.
Yes. We could do this all night. That's the problem.
I know we're gonna we're hanging out like we're just hanging out and anytime.
This is
No,
what you
Lord,
get if you
Red.
become on family.
That geeky gothic gamer girl, people need to follow you.
Absolutely.
maybe if you want.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
where can people find you?
I'm coolish. TikTok, Geeky Got the Gamer Girl, Instagram, Geeky Got the Gamer Girl, Facebook, Geeky Got the Gamer Girl, any of the things, Geeky Got the Gamer Girl.
I love you.
Love you.
Or ice cream
I'm
cone.
popping out, y'all. I love you,
Okay.
but like I've got
Love you.
children and stuff.
Go take
Bye.
care of the children's.
Okay, DL, where can people find you?
So basically DL Memphis, either on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't really do a whole lot on TikTok at the moment. I'm not really a huge TikToker. I'm not very consistent with social media in general. So just kind of know that I am always out and about in public. So anywhere that you will find cosplayers or just general entertainment, I'm going to be there and in the middle of it. But also, of course, Ice Cream Queens on the second and fourth Sunday of every month. We do Ice Cream Queens, which is a horror focused, not really, I guess, dark pop culture is the best way to describe our show. And we talk about a little bit of everything, anything that makes our dark hearts happy. So, and you can find that on Facebook, Instagram. You can watch the show live on Facebook and YouTube.
Yes. And Andrea?
Media Rice, mostly on Instagram and pretty much anywhere with the Cosplay Cafe.
All right.
Her photo just showed up as we're finishing.
Oh man.
Hey, a photo.
You'll just have to watch it later. We there's lots of Huff love.
Yes.
Oh gosh, there's always lots and lots of there's only a handful of photographers that I work with in Huff Photo. I'm married to a photographer, so as you can imagine, I don't work with a whole lot of photographers, but Huff Photo is the only other photographer that I'm like, yes, absolutely, this is the person that you got to book with. And of course, Toy Robot Visual Arts is my husband. So,
yes. And your husband took the pictures of us at Lauren's house.
Absolutely, yes, he did.
Job.
A lot of fun. We got to do it again.
Yes,
I know. I need to make it down your way again.
Or we need to come your way.
There's some really cool places I could take you to.
Yes, we need to come up that way.
Yes. And I can be found at Phoenix's Entertainment most places. Crayley and I just launched a combined website, phoenixsistersentertainment.com. Also, I got to plug our Patreon because Crayley is really hot this month. So patreon.com/phoenixsiscos. Yeah, we upped our spicy.
I'm trying to look through the
cosplay
blurring
game.
on the center photo. I'm not lying. Okay.
We all are. Okay. You know what? For $1, you can see what's under the blurring.
Ooh.
It's literally just $1.
Alrighty.
$1 a month. It's worth it. It's worth it. I've seen under the blurring.
Okay.
Otherwise, thank you all for watching and
Sticking around.
Get our exit. Thank you all for sticking around. We love you all. Let's get our exit video running, and otherwise, so you can see what other shows are on the network, including Ice Cream Queens.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss,